park 4 blocks down. That's where the Jews park. Anyway, I want to introduce some of the special guests in the audience tonight that came here to the Purcell Marian Hall of Fame dinner, the awards dinner. We're trying to make light of it, but I tell you, this is very serious. It really, can you please put the camera down? Please, it gets me really nervous. It really does. This is a serious evening. I mean, it's an evening of merriment and joy and friendship and brotherhood, but more than that, anytime you get invited or inducted into the Hall of Fame, you have become the best that you are and what you do. It's something I'll never get to, believe me. But the people that have gone to Purcell Marian, the tradition that this school has, it's a tremendous situation. And I want to thank you for having me be part of it just a little way. I don't know if you'll have me back next year, but I enjoy it tonight. I think it's great. And for those of you who are being inducted tonight, and for those of you who are already in the Hall of Fame, that you made the return trip to watch the new class get inducted, I think you owe yourselves a round of applause. I really do. It's a tremendous thing. They can say what they want about athletics, but you and I both know that is the mesh that keeps the school together. That is the common denominator that brings Purcell Marian 45 and Purcell Marian 95 together in one room, under one roof. That's what it's all about, athletics, and you and I both know that. All right, yeah. So when I hear those asshole administrators saying they want to eliminate athletics, I cringe. I go crazy, right, Coach? You know that. Okay. I want to introduce some of the big wigs in the community that have made it a point to stop off tonight and say hello and give their time to this. John Allen, the CEO for the Cincinnati Reds. Stand up, please. I know you're here. John Allen, I want to say one thing. I think it's a tremendous thing that you're doing, that you're trying to do, trying to climb a mountain. You and I both know, John, there are more people in this room than you had a $3 night during the season. I mean, you got to come up with something else out of the hat next year. It ain't working, John, really. Where's the old lady? Is she home? All right. God bless you. You're doing a hell of a job. Call me if you need any help. Is Benninghouse here? Thank God he's not here, because every time that son of a bitch opens his mouth, it costs me money. Really. He's not here. Good. The politician, the guy keeps waiting outside for him. Andy McWilliams from WLW Radio. Is Big Andy here? My friend, my cohort, the sports director of the big one. Is he here? He's probably eating. I don't see him. Matt Reese from WLW Radio, who has those Real Memories videos. For all you people who want to buy those tapes when you were playing in high school, he has them. Where's Matt Reese? How you doing, Matthew? You went to Catholic school, didn't you? So you're a scorer. Actually, you're the guy that should be up here doing this, really. You probably next year you will. And as for, where's the guy that did it last year? What's his name again from Nova? He's here. I know we'll get to him later. What's his name? You're at the wrong banquet. I don't know what you're doing here. Thinks it's an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. He came with his own bottle. People are coming in with their own bottles tonight. I never saw anything like that before. Is Skip Prosser here? Coaches Xavier basketball. He is not here, all right? Chuck Stoley, my friend the coach. Former Bengals coach, we got something in common. We were both thrown off the radio by Mike Brown. Doug Bear, former relief pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds. God bless you for coming here tonight. And the reason why I'm giving everybody the time of day, because I sure hope to hell there isn't enough money to get air conditioning here for next year, really. You could die, you could drop dead up here, really. Lenny Matuzzi. Where is he? Here's the guy who did it last year. Stand up. Everybody thinks Lenny Matuzzi is such a nice guy. And he may very well be, but he's not a nice guy to me. The first thing I care, like I give a shit that you did it last year, right? And he says, you know, you gotta be careful. You know what you say? He said, Len, if you were so fucking good, you would have been back. Well, you probably got paid, and I know, I work for shit, really. My relatives are rolling over in their graves knowing what I get paid for this tonight. Believe me. But you do a hell of a job even though you went to Mola. Really. Ray Cook, my friend and partner, who was thrown off the radio with me. We're both unemployed. All-American UC. Rookie of the Year, 1968 Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what, Chuck? It's amazing. They were an expansion team and they had a winning record. Think about that. That'd make you crazy, huh? Do you think they could beat Ohio State? What do you think? Tom Iser, the Assistant Athletic Director, Xavier University. One day he'll get a real job. Ron Huber, is that his name? From Mount St. Joe, the football coach. Is he here? He didn't show up tonight. Jack Hunt, former coach here at the Castle. How you doing, Jack? What class? You don't remember? You only graduated 1 year, Jack. They say the mine's the first league to go, Jack. It's okay. He didn't leave from Lahipstia's dinner. Bernie Sinchik. Bernie? Where is he? Is Bernie here? Where's Bernie? Bernie's not here. All right, sorry. Father Kerr, are you here? Former principal here at the Castle? Please stand up and please forgive me. Father, please forgive me. I'm sorry. I sinned, I know. I don't know what to do. You know, you people do it differently than we do. We just write a check. I don't know what you do. Really, we do it one day, we don't eat one day, write a check, and everything's okay. I don't know. You guys go every Sunday in a little booth and do something. I don't know. But I'm sorry. Scott Munninghoff. That's his name. He's from the Phillies, right? Is he here? Thanks for coming. What a turnout. Terry, do these guys pay or the freebies? I would just want to know. They all pay? That's a beautiful thing. It really is. Dick Bierman, Purcell crowd. Now the athletic director at Moeller High School. Where is he? Dick, how you doing? Stand up. Give the telephone book. I can't see him. And who's this? I don't know. The assistant athletic director, Roger Bacon? Bubs? Bubs? Is Bubs here? Assistant AD? How you doing, Bubs? Roger Bacon. Now, this is the important list. Those guys didn't count. This is the important list. Hall of Fame guys that showed up here tonight, which shows you how important this school is and what it meant to them, that they still come out. Well, maybe they have no life, they have nothing else to do. Chuck Lima. Chuck Lima. I want to stand up. Where's Chuck? What year? Tell us the year you're in the Hall of Fame. Too hard a question? We'll start again. What's your name? They don't produce many smart guys here, Father, do they? They play a lot of ball, but they don't get grades, I guess. We'll try again, Chuck. What sport and what year? Well, he's like the callers on my show, really. IQ at 12. Chuck will try again for the third time. Football. Thank God, okay. He may have been hit a little too hard, I don't know. Marty Bauer in the advertising business now. Well, I never knew he was an athlete.
No, father. That's my son.
I thought so, because I always thought Marty had a little extra chromosome on the Y side. I really did. He was a little straight. I didn't think he was an athlete. He's more like on a debate team or a chess team, you know what I mean? I like Marty, he's a good guy, but you know, he likes to go to these stags. He's like a professional stag guy. Marty, I love you. What account you gonna cancel tomorrow? Paul Peating! Paul Peating, what year, what sport? Where are you, Paul? God bless you. Football? Is it football, Paul? God bless you. Football and basketball. You know, if that doesn't touch you, nothing's going on. Really, 1930 football and basketball, he's still coming back. You still go to the games during the year, too? You go to the football games still? That's beautiful, it really is. You got to get out more a little bit, Paul. Steve Schweitzer, he played quarterback at UC, I remember, didn't you? Boy, you put on some weight. That's the advantage of guys like me who never played and never said I put on weight. You have gotten huge. You really, you better get out a little bit, get a treadmill or something. Get it. I'm afraid because, you know, heart disease. What are you doing now? All right. Coach in the rain. That's the school that cheated last year. I want to thank you because you gave us like 5 days of sports talk shows. You're a hell of a 10 days. All right. You're looking great. You really are. Jerry Helmers, what year, please? Oh, this is, I love the old timers. What year? 1919? Oh, 39. I don't hear that well. And football? You look like an offensive center. Unbelievable. That's great. sport you play because I know why you got into the Hall of Fame. I understand. It's okay. I don't want to hear it. It's the quota system. You got in and I was invited to speak, and that's the way it goes. I understand how things are these days, Carl. It's okay. It's all right. Probably married a white girl. Coach Neil Connor. Coach Neil Connor. What year, Coach? You don't remember. It's okay. Too many years. God bless you. All right. And I tell you what, here's the biggest one. We saved the best for the last. And if I offended him, I'm sorry. I really am, because here's the man that they really call the Godfather around this place. Brother Lawrence Everslage. Jim is here. What class? What class? Class of 50. God bless you, Jim. I'm sorry. Volleyball. Debating team. Tonight, we are honored and privileged. You know, the budget's not that great at Purcell, Marian. What they did, I guess they go through the list of Major League players, and they hit on W, and they found this guy Warden, and it's a shame, it really is. In 1996, he's still walking around on the back of Denny McClain. Since 1968. It's embarrassing, it really is. And more than that, if you look at the pants he's wearing tonight, he never returned them to the Detroit Tigers. That's even worse. John Warden works cheap, he's a local guy. He combined for 35 wins in '68 with Denny McClain. Denny won 31. And he's a hell of a guy, as I say, and I don't know what he's got to say, but he's going to work cheap, and I guess that's why you came out here to hear John Warden. So without further ado, our special guest speaker tonight, John Warden from the Detroit Tigers.
Tough act to follow there, man. But it's great to be in a parochial school and you got a Jew and a Protestant headline. Yeah. Nothing like it. I taught in a Catholic school in Columbus for 6 years. A what? All right. How was that nap this afternoon, all right? Sarah told us it's now kicking in. Oh, baby. Can you give me that B12 shot again right there? I want to stay up past 9 o'clock. Hey, it's a nice band, Sal. Daddy never had anything like that. Just looks like a big canary, that's all. But it's good to see you, Andy. I mean, you know, there's a true living figure that the Indians and the Buffalo did have sex. Planned Parenthood meeting. Pete Rose couldn't make it. He was calling Schleister, and he said 8 to 5 I wouldn't show up. And Denny, we can't find Denny right now. He's up to his old tricks again. He had a real popular radio show in Detroit, and Denny and I did a card show about 3 years ago up in Lima. Guys were coming through, and he said, "Hey, Denny, I've listened to your radio show, and it's really super. I can't believe how well versed you are on this show. It wasn't just a sports show; it was about everything." And I told the guy, I said, "Hell, he's 29 months in the federal prison. He didn't do but read." Luke Snyder and Willie McCovey were going to try to make it, but they're doing a card show for free. Marge was going to make it, but. Well, no, she doesn't have me here. She's combing shots here. No, really, they're doing a movie about Marge, Paramount. and they're starting to, they're bringing the trucks in, they're going to do a movie, and they're doing the auditions, and Marge gets to name who plays her, and we got it boiled down. She told me it'd probably be Ernest Borgnine. Well, Boris Karloff isn't alive, so I mean. Andy had, there's an opening on WLW in the morning, right? So, Mike, is Mikey boy here? Did he come? You didn't bring him over? Did you really? There was a guy the other day, I stopped in this bar, and this guy had a monkey. He came in, the bartender said, "Hey, you can't bring that damn monkey in here." He goes, "Well, we just want to watch the Bengals game." And he said, "Well, all right, just for today." And so he said, give the monkey a beer. So the monkey drinks the beer, Pelfrey kicks a field goal, the monkey does 2 or 3 back handsprings, starts clapping, and the guy said, "Damn, that's pretty good." He says, "How'd you teach him to do it?" He said, "Well, he's just a big Bengals fan." So all of a sudden, they score a touchdown, monkey does 15, 20 back handsprings, goes down another beer, and he said, "Shit, that's great." He said, "What the hell does he do when you win a game?" He goes, "I don't know, I've only had him for 2 years." Election's coming up. Bill Clinton's got such a big lead, he's starting to date again. You figure he's got the old crank. He's not even worried about it. But as Andy said, Denny and I were 35-7 that year, sort of a household name around Detroit. Gordon McLean, Pray for Rain. And I don't really pick that up, sort of catchy. But then he's running from the federal government again, and he'll be in jail for long. And when he first went to prison, he's down in Atlanta federal prison, and he went in the cell. Big black guy is his roommate. The guy says, "You want to be the husband or you want to be the wife?" Well, Danny's like, "Oh, man, I heard about this shit." But he said, "Well, I'll be the wife." He said, "Good, come over here and kiss my ass." So Denny had a tough time in prison. But anyway, he never bent over to get the soap. His voice is a lot higher now, though, I know that. But through my career, it's almost like a flash. I was there such a short time. Not like some of the guys here this evening had long careers in big leagues. Doug Bear pitched for, how many different teams, Doug? 15 different teams? Suitcase Bear. Oakland, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Rhode Island Reds, chicken shit team. But I did have a couple great times in the big leagues in 1968. You get up there the first year, I'm 21 years old, I'm single, farm boy from Ohio. Screwed everything but the tractor. And it was a fun time. You know, just putting on a Major League uniform is the greatest thrill that anybody could ever have. And the second day of the season, we played Boston, and Bill Freeman was our catcher, of course, freehand, you know, notable catcher, all-star, many years, and I'm a rookie, and I'm out on the mound. Going into the 9th inning, I get the first 2 guys out, and Carly Stremke is the next hitter. So freehand trots out, and I said, "Hey, here's some words of wisdom from Bill." He said, "It's a tie ball game. Top of the 9th. Freehand says, "All right, John, don't let gas beat us to the home run." I was thinking about that. Shit, really? What am I supposed to? So anyway, 3-2 pitch, I threw the greatest backup slider you've ever seen. Yaz swung, struck out. Had my first big league strikeout was the Yaz. Gates Brown pitch hit for me in the bottom of the 9th, hit a 2-run homer, and I'm 1-0. Something I'm really going on now. I'm just saying, first appearance, I got a win. Mickey Lowitz is my locker mate, who was fatter than I am, which was great. And I think, shit, I look anorexic sitting next to him. So 2 days later, we're playing Cleveland, and I come in, face one guy, Freeman throws a guy out second, Morton hits a 3-run homer, and I'm 2-0. And Lowitz is sitting there going, "You ain't that damn good, man." I thought he was on my team. He said, "Your bubble's going to break." "Yeah, you're not that damn good." So then we go to Chicago. Mayo Smith was our manager. And Mayo, you know, when you're 21, somebody 45 is like ancient. You know, because my kids now come home and say, "Hey, Dad, I met some guy who knows." He's like, he's really an old guy. He's like 48 or 49. "Thanks, kid." You know. And so Mayo was an old guy, and he always talked like this. He'd go, here's what we're going to do now. Let me tell you what we're going to do. So we go to Chicago, and you see, by the 7th inning, that year in 1968, we won 41 ball games from the 7th inning on, where we either tied or behind. Because about the 7th inning, the gin would kick in and Mayo would be out. And we were playing some baseball. Well, we left him in the dugout one night after the game was over. They had to go back out and get him. Plus, we had a trainer with a club foot. Mayo had a bad hamstring, and Willie Horton would get hurt in left field, and they'd race out to see how he was, and we'd bet on who was going to get there first. So anyway, we go to Chicago, I'm 2-0, command and relief. Mayo made some of the greatest moves in the history of baseball. You know, when you bring your shortstop in, when you bring your center fielder, Golden Glove in from center field to play shortstop in the World Series, hey, that takes really some hangy-downs there, buddy. When he pulled it off, it was great. So Mayo, we're playing Chicago White Sox. I come in and face a left-hand hitter named Wayne Causey, and bases loaded. We're up 1 run, so I walk in the tying run. Well, Ken Boyer's the next hitter, so I'm just sort of standing there looking at the dugout, waiting for Mayo to come out and get me. And, you know, bring a right-hander, face Ken Boyer, legend. He's a great hitter. And so Mayo just, you know, he's in there. Wally Moses, one of the coaches. Wally, you got the gin? Yeah. We gonna mix it with anything? No, it's just get higher quicker. Okay, so he leads me in the game. I throw a couple pitches to Ken Boyer. He hits a line drive. I mean, tell you, I got whiplash watching it go by. Don Wirt catches at third base, steps on third, double play. Hell of a move, Mayo. Willie Horton hits a 3-run homer on top of the 10th. I'm 3-0. I'm thinking, shit, at this rate, I'll be about 52-3. One of the sports writers, Sports Illustrated, said, what do you think about the year? I said, this game's easy. I didn't know this was easy. I spent 2 whole years in the minor leagues. Gee, if I'd known that, I wouldn't even gone down there. But it was a lot of fun. Faced Mickey Mantle, and we're at Yankee Stadium. And it was Mantle's last year, and just a great ball player. And bases loaded, bottom of the 7th inning, and I'm warming up out in the bullpen, and Mayo goes out to the mound. Jay Gibbs is going to be the next hitter. Jay Gibbs is an old left-hand hitting catcher. He was an All-American quarterback at Ole Miss. And so Mayo makes it out to the mound. He was still awake at that time. And Mayo gets to the mound, calls for the left-hander. Of course, you've seen the New York fans. They're great. They're like Furman, you know, obnoxious. So I'm riding in, and, you know, they're throwing crap at you. You know, I'm coming in the golf cart, and I'm ducking stuff, and I get out of the golf cart, and there's about 45,000 people there. And all of a sudden, I hear this applause start. You know, I didn't know it was that popular in New York. A few passes, but, you know. And I look over in the dugout, and Mantle's going to pinch hit. Well, Mayo's on the mound, Norm Cash, freehand, and Mayo has his back to home plate. Now, Mantle looks like he's swinging a whole bat rack, and he's up there. And I'm thinking, okay, how many home runs does he have? One more, and I'll be the guy that gave up Mantle's 6-number home run, and that's what I'll be noted for instead of playing 1 year and, you know, goofing off the rest of the time. So Mayo's going to calm me down, the old seasoned manager here. By the way, he managed here in 1959. Right. You guys might remember Mayo here. Probably didn't drink then. Until the 4th or 5th inning. So Mayo's standing there, and of course, you ever get a spasm in your leg and just start shaking? Well, Mantle's coming out, my right leg is just now going like this. All right, settle down, settle down. I'm hitting my leg. Mayo's going, all right, here's what we're going to do now. We got the bases are loaded here. He said, there's 2 outs. And he looks over his shoulder, and he goes, and Mickey Mantle's Cash is like, get him off the mound quick, get him out of here. Damn, man, we'll have another drink. Hey, you're killing this kid. I mean, my leg's going, holy mackerel. So anyway, Phil Mantle, 1 pitch, grounds out, shortstop, out of the inning. We lose the game, but it was just a great opportunity just to face a guy like Mantle, Yastrzemski, Frank Robinson's a tremendous hitter. Frank Howard, I faced him. Frank Howard is the only guy that I ever faced that I ever thought about, what happens if the ball comes back at me? He's a big mama, let me tell you. I mean, hell, Bernie Allen could have hit one that hard back and hit, man. You know, Jim Bolger, big as he is, Jimmy hit a few line drivers. You know, but these guys hit the ball. And But Frank Howard would come up, and here's a guy that's 6'8", weighed 300 pounds, and we get fooled. One night we're in RFK Stadium in Washington, and Howard hit a line drive against Joe Sparma, and our shortstop, Ray Orler, jumped and just missed catching it, and it went out of the park and left center field. I mean, this guy, he can flat out hit. You think, well, if he hits it back to me, I never wore a cup. I mean, time out. Can I get a couple of those things you put down there? Quick. One of the, another Mantle story, the night we clinched the pennant, it was on a Tuesday night in Detroit against the Yankees. And thank God he looked after us, because we got rained out the next day. We could have never taken the field. I mean, champagne really hits you quick. And you know, after 4 or 5 bottles of that stuff, I mean, it gets to you. And we were out in town just a little bit. I was out after curfew and saw the sun come up and everything else. But the next day, it was a Thursday, we had to play every game. So Denny McLain's going to pitch, and it's going to be Mantle's last appearance in Yankee Stadium. We're talking, it's mid to late September. And so Denny, being the character that he is, and having a great year, the guy had pinpoint control, just a super pitcher. He calls Freehand out in the 7th or 8th inning, Mantle's last at bat in Tiger Stadium. He calls Freehand out and he says, "Tell Mantle it's coming right down the chute." Freehand knows what a weirdo Denny like him. Right, so he runs back and he says, "Hey, Mick, it's coming right down the middle." And of course, Mantle looks out, he knows McLain too, and he's like, "Yeah, right." So I mean, McLain first pitch right there. And Mantle sort of looks at it, okay. So man, he digs in. Next pitch, puts it right there, and Mantle hits a shot in the upper deck, but it's foul by about 10 feet. So Mantle looks out at him and he goes, "Just a little bit." Then he's like, puts it right there. Mantle hits a shot, home run, upper deck. The whole place stood up. There's about 20-some thousand people there. McLain took his glove off, the whole infield, the dugout, everybody standing up clapping, is around the bases. It was an awesome sight. I mean, and of course the sports writers came in, and that's detrimental to the game. You can't do that, and be like throwing a game or whatever. So the sports writers were asking Denny. Of course, Denny never told too many lies. Jimmy Brotherson, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. And he said, "Did you give Mantle that home run?" He said, "He hit a hell of a pitch, man." He said, "I don't know how he ever did that. He hit a hell of a pitch." But it was fun. Joe Pepitone's the next hitter. Now, Pepitone, he's sort of, he's off the wall too. And Peppy just come out from the hairdryer and looks out at Denny and he goes, "Hey, Denny." Denny nods his head. Knocks him right on his ass. But, just things like that, and getting to be around those type of guys, it's just it's an unbelievable feeling. And I know with the fellows here, and what an honor it is for them to be going to the Hall of Fame at the school they attended, and their peers are here, and the former Hall of Famers, a lot of great ones out there will probably be inducted soon. And it's just, it's a great honor to be here. And it's always great to be around athletes, and I know a lot of you. I see a lot of you around town. A lot of you yell at me. I wear a striped shirt every now and then. Basketball and do some volleyball. Volleyball's pretty cool. I did football. Hey, Jimmy's here, my first referee. Always knew when he was close, I could hear the hinge squeak on his knee brace. Damn, oil that sucker, will you? Oh, yeah. Jimmy Bueller, yeah, we did football for a few years. Hey, we gave them their money's worth, didn't we? Of course, they didn't come to watch us. But it's good to see. I see a lot of the kids, and it's great. I coached baseball at Indian Hill for 10 years, and I was at UC the last couple of years as a volunteer coach, and it was really nice of them to invite me back this year. Be the pitching coach again for nothing. See, I applied for the job. See, I'll tell you a little history at UC, and I went in and applied for the job, and I've been there 2 years, 3 grads, and the kids went in and say, "We want Coach Ford to coach us." And boy, okay, don't worry, hey man, he's right on top of our list, and we're going to give him every consideration. And I'm talking to guys and everything. We're getting things ready for next year, and I get this letter in the mail saying, "Hey, here's my interview, boy." Open it up. Dear John, thanks for your interest in UC. At the current time, all of our selected interviewers are on count. Oh, geez, this could be to me. Didn't even get an interview. So they didn't hire a guy from Tulane. Now, Tulane came up to play us, and they were about the biggest bunch of jackasses I've ever played against in my life. The coaches didn't speak to us. The players weren't out to talk to our players. This is college baseball. This is supposed to be fun. High school, college, this is the greatest time in these kids' lives to have fun and go places and meet different people. And so they hired the assistant from Tulane. Oh, great. So he calls me. Hey, John, heard a lot about you. Kids love you. How about coming back? I said, what's the salary? The salary? But the phone went dead. Well, we thought you might volunteer again. Hey, Brian, let's turn it around. You're at Tulane 5 years, head coach leaves, you apply for a job, don't get an interview. You gonna go back and work for nothing? Hey, John, see you later. So that was the end of the UC career. But great time, and there's great kids down there. And in college athletics, it's super. Xavier and UC, two of the greatest institutions going. We got Mount St. Joe, we got Thomas More having a great football season. And I do have to say, Mike Paul's here. Mike's having a great year at Amelia. We're at 7-0 right now, 6-0. Keep her going, buddy. Keep her going. But, you know, it's just a fun thing to do, and I love officiating and going around speaking to groups. And right now I do a lot of things for the Major League alumni. We're doing a lot of clinics throughout the United States. We're trying to get kids interested back in baseball. We're hoping like crazy we can get a bargaining agreement signed and maybe get an independent commissioner to help this game of baseball and get more people in the stands. And that's what we need. We need to support baseball and bring out the positive side. These guys are good guys. They play hard, and they play to win, and they get a bad image, but it's not always the players. It's some of the people that are running the league. And I think an independent commissioner, once we sign a bargaining agreement, that'll get this thing back together and see baseball come back around. There's going to be a new stadium in Cincinnati. It's got to be exciting for the people. And, you know, support it and come out and watch those guys play because they're playing their butts off. And, you know, it's just, it's a shame right now that we're going through tough times in baseball as we are. And we see basketball and football progressing in quite a ways. But anyway, I'd just like to say, finishing up, it's a pleasure being here. We've got some important things to do. Induct these 6 gentlemen into the Hall of Fame. I appreciate your time, and I thank the people from Purcell, Marian, and here for having me. Thank you very much.
Sour grapes to me. Really. You gotta let go, John. You really do. You gotta let go. Forget about the past. You really do. And let's face it, this is the closest you'll ever come to a Hall of Fame. It really is. And John Allen, if you're listening, here's a guy's looking for work. Speakers Bureau, perhaps. You know, the late Gordy Coleman. He's gone. Maybe he could do it. He works for free. No one pays him. Really. That's what March likes. You know that. But this is the part of the evening we're here for. This is what we're really. I don't think anybody really was here for John Ward. We're here tonight to induct the next Hall of Fame class for Purcell Marian High School, and no one knows it better, the ins and the outs of this school, than this next gentleman, Denny Johnson, the Director of Development for Purcell Marian, the former principal, Denny Johnson.
Really a pleasure and an honor for me to be with all of you Cavaliers. I really, truly get excited about this evening because from this point on, you will meet and hear about some of the greatest athletes who ever went through Purcell High School. And for me to have the pleasure and the honor of either introducing them personally or introducing the gentleman who will induct them into the Hall of Fame is truly special. Our first inductee is Don Donovan, class of 41, and to induct him is Tom Linneman, his classmate, obviously from 41. Tom?
First gentleman we introduce into the Hall of Fame tonight might be described in just 2 words: natural athlete. I'm sure when you're all here at the castle, there's always 1 or 2 guys in the class, and whatever the sport was, they could run faster or hit harder, shoot straighter than anybody else. The natural athlete from the class of 41 was Don Donovan. Don was lettered in 4 sports while he was here. He lettered in tennis, football, baseball, and basketball. That's all the time they had for him. He was preceded at Purcell here by his brother Pat, who played a lot of basketball upstairs and later to Xavier University, where he started to play pro. His younger brother played behind him, played a lot of basketball here. Must be in the genes, John, and I'm sure they're smiling down on you tonight. Don learned all his sports right next door here in what used to be the DeSales playground. You old guys remember that at one time there was a tennis court over there, a volleyball court, a handball court, a baseball diamond, enough place to play touch football, and a bandbox gym above the school. Don fine-tuned his talents all over there. I was well aware of it before I came to Purcell when we were playing CYO sports. And DeSales comes out to St. Mary's to play basketball, and Glenn Hedge has me guarding Don Donovan. Walt Roadhouse and Jim Rockoff, remember, we had a rather unique gym over at St. Mary's under the undercrop. We had 3-foot pillars running up and down the side, and they were actually in the plain surface. And Donovan took about 30 seconds to figure out he could set one of the most unmovable kicks against that pillar he ever wanted to see. He drives me into the pillar, and Randy goes for an easy layup. He killed me that day. It was embarrassing. Baseball season comes. Naturally, he's the sales pitcher. Struck me out 3 times. We get over here, and I thought I was a pretty good handball player. We have an interview on handball. I'm representing freshman C. Who's representing freshman B? You got it. He ate my lunch in the handball court. Don's best sport by large is basketball. He led him 4 years of basketball. He captained his junior and senior year. He was a spark plug and varsity player in his sophomore year, probably his best year. That was the year that Purcell easily won the GCL 6-0. They lost 1 game. We get to the final over the UC bandbox before Shoemaker. The score at halftime, and get this, you younger guys, this is the day of the 2-hand set shot. The score at halftime was 18-3 favor Purcell. And Donovan killed them on D. We were on our way to Columbus. Well, the second half started. Don went down, sprained an ankle, could not continue. Chippy Kane did not have a player of the caliber of Don. Before the end of the game, Dakin got in at the last moment. They won by a point. They went on to state and got into the finals. They lost by a point, and I'm convinced that if Don had been healthy that whole game, that 1939 would have been our first basketball championship here. After high school, Don went over to Xavier University, followed his brother over there on an athletic scholarship for basketball. And then on December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in infamy, Japanese Pearl Harbor, the class of 40 went off to fight and win a war. Don enlisted in the Marines. He rose to a gunnery sergeant, border squad in the fighting 4th Marine Division. Fought many battles overseas, Tinian, Siwan, bloody Iwo Jima, survived them all, came back, re-entered Xavier University to play basketball, married the sweetheart of the class of 1941, and immediately started raising a large family, most of which are over here tonight. Don found out that basketball scholarship did not pay for Davy Road, so he had to leave school to support a family. Went to work for Firestone, sold a lot of tires, but figured he'd like to try it himself. So with not too much money, but a lot of natural talent, a lot of guts, and not sure how he's going to make his first payroll, he started Donovan Tire Company out in Pleasant Ridge. Well, as he did it well, he survived and prospered. His kids now run the business, and Don's retired, spends a lot of time in Florida. Oh, one other thing before I introduce this guy, let you know he's done completely Mr. Wonderful. I told you about the playground over here. Hey, it didn't have a golf course. About 30 years after he gets out, he can't run up down the basketball court, run it in, throw a curve, serve, or whip my butt on the handball court. He decided to play golf, and I'm here to tell you, friends, he should have quit while he was ahead. Because now every Thursday when the class of 41, and we got 15 of us over there, go out to play golf, really hope that Don shows up, because now on the golf course, the whole class can eat his lunch. So now it takes great pride. I take great pride and pleasure to introduce my friend of 60 years, natural athlete, the class of 41, Donald Leonard Donovan.
Thank you all for coming here tonight. enjoy it very much because I grew up with the brothers of Marian on Burdett Avenue. And I played basketball with the brothers every day, including volleyball. And I just can't tell you how much I am enthused about Purcell High School. I grew up with them. I lived with them. I played the brothers on Saturday, even I'd sneak through the backyard so I could play basketball. And I'd play with the brothers. They would beat me. And I want to thank you all for coming. And I'd like to do one thing. I'd like to introduce my family and my relations. My brother Pat was a hell of a basketball player. And my brother Bill was a good basketball, plus a good baseball player. And they're both dead. They were a hell of an athlete. If you knew Pat, you knew he could play basketball. He was scoring 24 and 28 points a game. And that was quite a deal in those days. And my brother Bill, they're both passed. And I want to introduce my children. I'll start with Denny. And Daryl. My sister's kid, Mark Chopper. And then my brother Pat's kids, Kevin and Drew. I want to thank you all. My son-in-law, Jeff Gunderson. I know your name, Jeff. I do want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank my brothers. My brothers deserve this award too. Thank you.
Our second inductee is from the class of 45, Walt Roadhouse. Here to speak on Walt's behalf and induct him into the Hall of Fame is his classmate, Jim.
Thank you very much, Dennis. If you'll pardon me, I'm going to use notes for this introduction because I just got off the plane from Spain with more than a bit of jet lag. And I am desperately afraid that I'll forget some of the exciting details of Walter's glorious and wonderful life. I hurry back because I am truly honored to introduce my dear and old friend, even though I had to leave the Costa del Sol with its marvelous weather and its jet-set clientele, all enjoying the 4 S's of Spain: sand, sand, sex, and sangria. Actually, the folks I was with thought that the 4 S's of Spain were sightseeing, shopping, siestas, and Sprite. Walter and I have been best friends since we were 3 years old, when our family moved across the street from the Grote houses in Old Hyde Park. Walter had an Indian suit, and I was a cowboy. It was a time when the Indians always won. You see, Walt figured out at an early age that if you aren't the lead dog, you're pretty much always looking at the same thing. And he had the attributes for being a lead dog. He was big for his age, he was determined, and more, he was confident. And he still is all of those things. Walt went to St. Mary's grade school, but he was too big for the CYO football. I think the weight limit then was 125 pounds. But when he reported for practice at Purcell, Coach Bernie McCashin was delighted. As delighted as Bernie could ever get. My parents sent me to Christ the King School, later to become part of Purcell. The rule then stated that you had to attend the school in your geographic parish. Mom said, big deal, and sent me. So for 8 years I walked much farther to school, and in daily dread fear of the big black chow dog at the top of Grace Avenue. As a consequence of running from that dog, I thought I had become a pretty good sprinter. And at Purcell, went out for track. Coach Brother Bill Schroeder said I had deceptive speed. However, as things worked out, what he meant was deceptively slow. Walter came to Purcell a year after me, mainly because his dad supplied the St. Mary's priest with meat from his Walnut Hills butcher shop at a big discount. And they thought if Walter went on to high school, their discount was ejected. You might say Walt was red-shirted in the interest of beef tenderloin. Coming to Purcell in 1941, Walt got going right away with freshman and reserve basketball and football. His same determination, ability, and confidence led him quickly to the varsity in both sports. And Lead Dog Roadhouse became captain of the basketball and football teams. I think that Ed Kluska, when he became coach in Walt's junior year, was a tremendous influence, as was Frank Leahy later on at Notre Dame. Ed taught us Paul Brown's T formation, then little known, especially in high schools. I've asked Walter to introduce me when I'm inducted here at Purcell. And he said he didn't think he possibly could live that long. Easy for him to say. All city and all state at Purcell, lettered and played in every game in 4 years at Notre Dame. North-South All-Star game, never missed a snap at quarterbacks Lou Jack, Ratterman, Williams, and Purcell. Pretty impressive. In the fall of 1945, Walter determined that he would play for the ultimate lead dog, the University of Notre Dame. Thus, he was off for South Bend. He had an illustrious career there, the culmination of which was being the center of the 1949 undefeated, unanimous national champion Irish team. One of the great teams, if not the greatest, in the history of the college game. Time marches on, and Walter and his lovely wife Claire live in Philadelphia and St. Simon's Island. His 2 sons manage the company business, and his 2 daughters provide beautiful homes for their families. In his life, Walt's good ideas became his objectives. His determination and confidence made them happen. That's why he is a true Cavalier Hall of Famer. He was, is, and will always be captain of my Hall of Fame. It is my pleasure to present Walter J. Roadhouse Jr., class of 1945, Purcell Cavalier Extraordinary. Thank you.
His father, Bob McPhillips, was one of my greatest friends. John, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again. I don't think I've been in this building in 50 years. I came back to our 50th anniversary last year, and I saw all my classmates. It was wonderful. Okay? But being here, knowing that, I hadn't been here for 50 years, really, makes me feel great. My father, I'd love to have him here tonight. He was a great Purcell friend. He was a friend of the priest and brothers of Mary. Did on a lot of nice things for him. They did a lot of nice things for him. So I want to remember him tonight, okay? And I want to thank you again for this great honor. I've always been a Cavalier, and I'm pleased to be here tonight. Thank you.
For our next 4 inductees, it's truly my honor to be able to induct each of them into the Hall of Fame. Our 3rd inductee is Jim Brockhoff, class of '52. As the Hackberry Assassins continue to receive recognition across Cincinnati in the '50s, the prowess of other Cavalier teams surged as well. Jim Brockhoff was an integral part of the Cavalier success in tennis, basketball, as well as football. Jim was a starter for the Cavaliers on the gridiron in '50 and was their all-city quarterback for the '51 season. His game-winning airmail special against Elder led the Cavaliers to an 18-12 victory, helping them to an 8th straight PCL football title and the city championship. Jim was also a starter for the basketball team for 2 seasons, but it was on the tennis court that Jim captured the headlines, leading the Cavaliers to a 30-7 record during the '51-52 seasons. Jim was selected All-City in both '51 and '52, following his city championship titles, and was a state finalist in both of those seasons. Jim still resides in the Queen City with his wife Mary and is active in tennis. He has coached Xavier University's men's squad for the past 35 years and the women's squad since its inception 24 years ago. He was selected MCC Women's Tennis Coach of the Year in '91 and '94. He has umpired Grand Prix Tennis, ATP Championships, the U.S. Open, and the National Clay Court Championships. Jim is the tennis pro at both Eastern Hills Indoor Club and Coldstream Country Club. I present our inductee, Jim Brockhoff.
Okay, it's a real honor and pleasure to be part of this group because Purcell has been a part of my family for years, and this time I'd like to introduce my older brother, Bill, who came all the way from North Carolina. Bill graduated from class of '41. And my 2 sons, Brad and Brian. In grade school, I graduated from St. Mary's grade school, and I always dreamed about coming to Purcell, getting to play sports. So I finally arrived here at the castle, and Jim McCarthy was the coach at the time. Jim McCarthy was probably the most unique individual we ever met. We were very, very fortunate to have super coaches. We had Jim McCarthy, we had Jack Hunt, who's here, we had John Hogan, we had Jack Hamlin, Paul Masali, all great coaches. Jim McCarthy. If Jim McCarthy were coaching today, he'd probably laugh one particular day. And he had this unique trait that he would see you in the hall, and he wouldn't talk to you, he wouldn't look at you, he wouldn't do anything until you finished playing for him, and then he worked his butt off for you, trying to get a scholarship for you to a particular school. The greatest man I think I've ever met as far as football coaching, because he not only demanded respect, but he demanded respect. And there's so many good stories about Jim. I get here. Frank Hayes was a grade school coach at St. Mary's, and Frank said, "Don't worry, I drink beer with Jim McCarthy at Donovan's Cafe. You're definitely going to be part of you'll definitely be part of the team." So I go out there, and they have these drafts, and the tryouts consisted of, they started with 6'3", then 6'2", 6'1", 190, 120. Now they picked 8 teams, that's 88 players, okay? And I'm still over there raising my hand, thinking, well, maybe the guy who's the coach, he's talking about, we need people in the stands. I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I get there, I'm like, oh. So it was a very subtle way of saying you've been cut. So I get cut my freshman year, and I was literally heartbroken because my whole life was sports, and I really felt bad. But in the spring, Jim McCarthy used to have these great gym classes, and it would consist of throwing out a football, and if you could catch it, and if somebody could throw it, and that was all part of the gym class. I made the team in my sophomore year, and I was third string quarterback. We were playing Withrow, and in those days, the public schools used to use juniors, and the public schools used to beat the hell out of the Catholic schools because the Catholic schools would only use sophomores. And we're playing at Withrow, we're playing the reserves, they got juniors, they're quick, they're fast, they're big. And the first string quarterback couldn't do anything, the second string quarterback didn't do anything. So finally, Jack Hamill looks down, he says, Brock, come there, go in. So I go in and I throw a pass. So this is the first pass of my high school career. And there was some young man that picked this thing off, and he ran about 55 yards. Now, I'm flat on my back. I'm looking up at that beautiful Withrow tower. I go back to the bench, and I don't know what to say. I've never played a play except for this particular play. And Jack Hamlin is just about ready to just tear my head off. And I looked at Jack, and I shook his hand, and I said, Jack, I'm sorry. And he didn't know what the hell to do. No one had ever said, I'm sorry. So my career didn't start too well. After that particular game, Jim Bueller, who was a classmate of mine, they used to dress in this locker room down here, the reserves, and the varsity was over here. And Buell tells me, look, it's too crowded in this locker room here. Let's go down to the varsity locker room because no one will be down there. All of a sudden, you hear, and Jim McCarthy always wore those wooden sandals. You hear this. And we're in that locker room. We can't go out the window. We can't go down the pipe. We can't go anywhere. And we're there, Sergeant. And McCarthy walks in, and true to fashion, he didn't say a word. We got out, and we thought, well, this is it. Our career is over. The next day, Jack Hanlon gets the whole team together, and he says, there are two boys who are here. If they wish to continue, they better either take a shower at home or in the reserve locker room. So we started there. But I'll tell you, Purcell High School was really super. There was nothing better than on a Friday during the school year, during the football season, we would have the abbreviated class schedule, and at 1:30 they would have the pep rally. About approximately 15 years ago, they started Saturday Night Live, and I actually thought Saturday Night Live started here in the late 40s when they had these pep rallies. Each homeroom would do a particular skit, and they were unbelievable skits. There was so much school spirit. The team would walk in from the back, people would be yelling for grades. It was really a great place to be as far as not only for the academics, but also for the sports and the whole community. And the reason it was so good was because they had so many good faculty members. Brother Everslade, who's not here, was probably the most outstanding educator I've ever been involved with. If ever there was a time that anybody needed a problem as far as solving crime, Big E, as he was called, he was in charge of Den 10. And Den 10, on any particular day, you could have had Jeffrey Dahmer in there, you could have had Charles Manson in there, you could have had Al Capone in there. And he would walk in there and he would say, there will be no talking, and you do the problem, and everybody shut up and do the problem. It was unbelievable. Great disciplinarian, great education. One thing that used to always be fun before school started, and that we would practice, and then we would go and sit on the sales corner, and we'd eat lunch, we'd all get a quart of orange juice, drink that stuff, and people go by, you could yell and scream at people. It was just a fun thing to do. But you would air your jersey out there on the back fence out there. And a friend of mine from Bellevue, who now lives in Florida, but I've got a suspicion who did it. If those jerseys are not back here by 3 o'clock, certain people are going to be SOL. So I'm on the phone trying to get a hold of, kind of get those damn jerseys back. Well, finally the jerseys came back in that. But Purcell was extremely fortunate not only to have good teachers, but also to have the parents were so involved in that. And it was unbelievable to see how many parents came to all the different games. In closing in that Purcell's always been special to me. I always hoped that my kids would go here, and one did. Brad graduated from Purcell, so it was a special thrill. And the past 2 days have been special because our Xavier women's tennis team beat UC yesterday 5-4. And tonight being inducted into the Purcell Hall of Fame is special. I really appreciate the people who came here because I haven't seen some of these people in years and years. It's been great. I really appreciate you coming, and thanks to everybody. And lastly, special thanks to Terry for the great job you've done, and thanks again.
Before we get to the next inductee, I think it would be important for you all to know that, according to Jim, he did get them back. They have remained very close friends during and since that time. And Mr. Conti definitely wanted to be here this evening. He could not. But he did send word that as a result of that incident, he is personally purchasing brand new jerseys for the varsity football team for both the offense and the defense. In my new capacity as Director of Development, all of you who have stole from the castle, I am looking very much forward to hearing from you. Our next inductee is from the class of '65. His name is Bill Redwater. Probably the most disappointing thing for Bill, as he conveyed to me over the phone, was the fact that he could not be here this evening. He just simply had commitments that were literally impossible for him to undo in order to be with us this evening. But in his honor, and since his plaque will hang in the Hall of Fame, I want to give you a brief description of Bill's athletic prowess here at Purcell. As the sun began to set on the Purcell football dynasty, Bill Redwater held the Cavaliers' blow during the '64 season. Scoring 8 of the squad's 12 touchdowns for the season, Bill gained All-City and All-GCL recognition. From the castle, Bill traveled down Victory Parkway where he would star for the Musketeers in football and track. Bill set Xavier records for most punts returned, 37, most yards on a punt return, 442, and a season record for punt return yards, 268 in 1967. As a junior, Bill was among the national rushing leaders with 686 yards and 202 carries for a 4.3 average. From Xavier, Bill went on to the NFL to play 3 seasons with the New Orleans Saints. One whale of an athlete, he sends his best, Bill Walden. The next inductee, Billy Roble, class of '73. This is an extra special thrill for me because among a lot of former students out there this evening, Bill, too, is one of my former students, and a finer man, father, and loyal individual to Purcell and Purcell Marian you just simply won't run into. Throughout the '70s and early '80s, excelling in Cavalier athletics seemed to be a Roble family tradition. A tradition that began in grand style with Bill's entrance to the castle in the fall of '69. Bill would capture 8 varsity letters, 1 on the hardwood, 3 on the gridiron, and 3 on the diamond. Bill played on Coach Neil Connor's 13-8 sectional championship team in '72. His 3 letters in football were earned by playing the offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, punter, and place kicker. He was selected best offensive lineman and co-captain by his Cavalier teammates, as well as being named first team GCL and All-City in both Inquire and Post. Bill's call to glory, however, would be carved by his powerful right arm in baseball. His senior record of 5-1, with a city-leading ERA of 0.14, topped the stellar 20-5 career record with an amazing 1.10 ERA. Bill was selected All-City and All-GCL in both '72 and '73. He was also named GCL Player of the Year in '73. Here at the Castle, he was the recipient of the Father John Ulrich Award and the Kilius Jones Award, the 2 top athletic awards that rarely the same athlete receives. Bill also played for the 3-time state Connie Mack World Series champion Reading VFW in 72, 73, and 74. The 74 squad was the National Connie Mack World Series runner-up. He then went on to the University of Kentucky, where he set Wildcat records for appearances and saves. Bill currently lives in Pleasant Ridge with his wife Debbie and 3 children, Annie, a graduate of Purcell, Marian, 1996, Billy, Joe, and Joe. I give you Bill Rowe.
It's a great event. It's an honor to be up here. Also, I'd like to thank a lot of good friends that came out here tonight. Long distance a little bit. Guys I've played ball with over the years. Guys I went to high school with. You being here means an awful lot to me. Also, I'd like to thank some of the coaches I hear at Purcell. And I thought we had a lot of good coaches when I was here at Purcell, but there was a few that had a lot of influence on me. Football coaches like Jim Higgins, Dave Ward, basketball coaches like Mike Clark, Coach Neil Connor. Then there's the guy who probably did more for me in my life during his 4 years than anybody else, Courtney Albers. He was my first coach when I came here to Purcell High School as a freshman footballer, and spent 4 years with him on the baseball team. But what this man has done for me over my life is it would take me a lifetime to repay him. I guess I can't get up here and not mention my 4 favorite people, my brothers, Tommy, Eddie, Mike, and John. We've been through a lot together playing sports, whether it was in the side yard, park, or whatever. But just want you guys to know that there's not 4 guys I'd rather take into battle with me than you guys. Lastly, I'd like to thank my mom and dad. Dad's not here anymore. I know he loved him in here tonight. But they were with me through thick and thin. Thank you very much.
I had the distinct pleasure of being introduced to Coach Frank Shands by another Hall of Famer, Coach Neil Connor, when I first arrived at Purcell in 1968. Coming from Memphis, Tennessee, not born and raised, by the way, I was born and raised in Cleveland, which may be worse, I understand. But I was teaching in Memphis and came to Purcell, and Neil made me extremely welcome here at the castle. And Frank gave me a few pointers on the ins and outs. So this evening, our last inductee, Coach Frank Shands, as I said, is one who has already gained legendary status here in Cincinnati. Coach Shands came to the castle in 1964 after coaching football, basketball, and track at DeForest High School in the West End. He coached offensive backs in football in 1968 and 69, but it was the track and field program that Coach Sands would lead the Cavaliers to glory in. During Coach Sands' 6-year tenure, Crimson and Gold captured 4 Southwestern Ohio AAA track and field championships, a first among GCL schools. The Cavaliers also won or tied the GCL title 5 times, won the Cincinnati Public School Invitational 5 times, and the KFC Relays 5 times. As Purcell's track and field program continued, so did the number of Cavaliers placing in top events in the Ohio State Championships. Coach Shands initiated and directed the Cavalier Invitational Relays at Central High's Tractor Stadium. The event showcased many of the outstanding programs from across Ohio and Kentucky, drawing 35 to 45 teams and over 1,000 athletes annually. The Cavalier Invitational Relays became known as one of the state's most outstanding high school track events. The cross-country program also was influenced as they won 1 district title and 1 runner-up title under the leadership of Coach Sands. Some of the recognition he received while coaching at the Castle includes being inducted into the Ohio High School Track Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 67, Miami University's Track Hall of Fame in 70, National High School Athletic Directors Coach of the Year Award, District 2, 69,
Southwest Ohio Track Coach of the Year 3 times, and the Fred Hutchison Memorial Plaque, and the Miami University Bishops Alumni Medal for Outstanding Community Service. Coach Shands founded and moderated Purcell Interracial Club from 1964 to 1970 to establish harmony and understanding among Purcell students of all races and religions. This group's work led Purcell to be the only Cincinnati inner city school not closed or affected by civil unrest in the 60s. That's amazing. I give you Coach Frank Shands.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be here. 76 years, God Almighty has blessed me. But you know, I'm not here tonight to say something about Frank Shands. I want to say something about Cavalier, about the wonderful people that I've had the pleasure of knowing and meeting for many years that came from Purcell High School. When I began my coaching career at DeForest High School, I'll never forget guys like Chip King, Gus Motor, and so many other guys that came into the West End to help me educate young black men. These guys did a tremendous job, not only financially, but with their spiritual support. Purcell has always been very close to my heart. That's the reason when they closed the doors, and I had the pleasure and the privilege of coming to Purcell High School, it was indeed a great pleasure and a privilege. I didn't have to coach at Purcell High School. I didn't have to do anything. We had guys here at Purcell High School, let me tell you, marvelous young men at this high school. All Coach Shands had to say, jump. They would say, ha ha. If I said run, they would say, how fast and how far, coach. I had the pleasure of being a coach that I actually could send kids to practice. And I could go off and do something else. And come back, those guys would be doing just what you left them doing. You know what, if you've never seen the pictures of some of the track teams of those days at Purcell High School, they were the finest looking young men in the state of Ohio, in the world. If you look at one of those pictures, you see those outstanding, wonderful young men and the relationship. What I'm so proud about at Purcell was a tremendous relationship for those years. Everyone else that's powerful, let me tell you something. There was an understanding and a Christian fellowship here at Purcell High School that was unequal at any other school. And that's the reason Purcell is close to my heart. That's the reason with all the wards, I have a basement full of cotton-picking high school wards for coaching and teaching. The only one that truthfully means something to me is the one I'm receiving tonight. This school here, and the schools I taught at West End, those are the poorest kids. For 23 years, I've worked in Catholic schools. And the only reason I left Catholic schools is one reason. When I went to Princeton, back in 1970, I had to leave. There was a difference of $5,000 in 1940 in the beginning salary. Now, you know, you just don't like to think about that, but that was, I could almost put a chicken in the pot. That's the reason I had to go. You know, these wonderful young men here, there's something that's always been overlooked in my career, which I'm very sorry. I had one of my art students come up to me tonight. Let me tell you something else about Purcell. You older people and you younger people who may not realize it. For those 6 years, or 7 or 8 years before that, we had the most outstanding art department in the whole Southwest Ohio. Probably in the state of Ohio. The young men at Purcell, the art students were the same way as the track people were. When you said do some work, they would say how much. And when they did their work, they were so creative. I tell you, it was a pleasure to work with young men that we had here at Purcell High School. They were just a tremendous group of young people. They made my coaching career as a young man at DeForest. Those 23 years of Grover School made my coaching career not a job, but a pleasure. It made it a pleasure to be here. It was not a job. I want to thank President Purcell High School, Athletic Association. But most of all, I want to thank all those wonderful young men that were able to put up with my gas and my butt busting board. Years when I was here at Purcell. But you know, as an educator, I spent 44 years teaching. I ended up with another, 15, 20 years or so in public high school. But I tell you something, it is worse than many of you know. There is a tremendous gap or something in education today. And the biggest thing in the world is the lack of kids being able to pray and being able to pledge allegiance to the flag and being able to be disciplined regardless of how they're disciplined. There's no good way to discipline a kid. Talk with them, bust their butt, knock them down, get results. And what has happened in education, we no longer believe this. We all have a particular philosophy. We think that our way is the only way. There's no such thing as the only way to teach or the only way to coach. And there's no such thing as the only way to improve race relationship. The only way that we're going to ever improve race relationship is for us to get together, talk about it, realize that in culture there's difference, but in America we're all proud to be Americans. And I tell you, I was at Purcell and Princeton High School one night. I'd given up coaching. I went to a basketball game. And I became so disgusted that I just said, that's it. I haven't been to a basketball game or athletic contest since. Elder came out to play Princeton. And there were black kids in Elder, and Elder ran out on the field with a completely all-white team. Princeton came out next with a school that is 2/3 white, and they came all out with a black team. I said, that's enough for me. Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I think that a team of young people getting together, working together, regardless of race, creed, color, or religion, they're going to have a great team. And I tell you, that's what happened here at Purcell. We had more Baptist preachers come out of the kids than I had here at Purcell. Thank you for coming. And I don't know whether, whoever's closer to this, Jim Bolger, you know, Bolger, I don't know whether you remember, so I guess you were Bolger. I remember in 1950 or something, at a banquet or something, I was sitting at a table with two people, the only two people that were elected to the All-State track team, football team from the state of Ohio that year. The coaches, the Purcell 10 Club in Plymouth, and Father Stockholm and myself and you and Charles Billings, one of the elder athletes that I had at Purcell. I had the most beautiful picture, which is still a part of my keepsakes at home with Bolger. Now he was, as someone said, he was a heck of a lot slimmer than and these things that I see happening each and every day, let me tell you, me as a coach and as a human being, I can cite you incident after incident. I was in Wendy's just day before yesterday, and I walked by a table, and a young white kid was sitting there with his wife, and he looked at me, kept looking at me, and I went by and sat down and had my chili. This young man got up, he came over to me and said, aren't you Coach Frank Shane? Now, he never played for me, he never did anything in Purcell as far as I know since I went to school. He said, I remember you. And he said, I graduated the class of 72, and I want you to know that you had a tremendous influence on me. That has been the pleasure to me, to the kids, young men in Purcell, time and time again, for the last 45, almost 50 years, that they have met me all over the city of Cincinnati and have spoken to me because they are just one and all. Thank you very, very much.
Stays alive from the 1930s till today. Take a look at this table. There's the reason right there. You know, you can't emphasize the importance of athletics and sports no doubt the mathematics teachers are important, the English teachers are important, but without sports, this doesn't happen. And the name Purcell does not go across the state of Ohio. And coaches like this don't come to your school. That's what it's all about. And one of the men mostly responsible for tonight's performance, and one of the tradition carriers of this school, a man who will be in the Hall of Fame shortly, I'm sure, Terry Meinking, athletic director of
and Mr. Warden for speaking, and also want to thank you guys for showing up. This is real important to this school that a function like this can take place and be successful. Very important. We need you guys to be involved, big time. This is tough times and things are rough. More often than not, they're rough, and we need your support. So please put ballots on your tables there. If you got people you want to nominate for the Hall of Fame, once they go on the ballot, they're on forever. We have a selection committee that offers them up and review it, so forth and so on. Also, I heard Matt Reese introduced before. You guys that want those old football films, it's available. The man puts them on videotape for you. So if you want information about that, just call me at school and I'll let you know. That's the only advertisement you get. Thanks again for coming, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Purcell.
Admitting me into the castle tonight, and I hope I'm allowed to come back again. I think the benediction now, was it Rabbi Thomas? Oh, Rebbe, Father? I get confused with it. Not yet. Rabbi. Oh, Raffle? You're going to trust me? Sticking my hand in there. A new car? Oh. Mark Edwards, Notre Dame, Jersey. Ken Kramer. Ken Kramer. I told you you did. Terry Killinger, Houston Oilers, Jersey. I never heard of the guy.
Come out from under the rock.
Say lovely now, really. I just want to get out in one piece. I really do. Please, let me out. I won't come back, I promise. Tony Russo. Okay, we're going to split the pot for another half hour. Right now, the cut is $3.50. $3.50 is the cut right now.
Let me take off one thing. We got this banner hanging up here for the 86 football team. The plan is for every undefeated team that we've had, we're going to do a banner.